in the current scenario. As we are aware of that the India is going through a very peak time in terms of the COVID-19. So we are going to discuss here what measures that we can take up to tackle this particular COVID-19. I'll be talking from a normal woman perspective as well as pertaining to the women who are pregnant, who are in different phases of the pregnancy, and who are also planning to conceive. So I'm going to discuss about this broad lineup regarding how we can overcome this COVID-19. Now, first of all, to tackle it, we need to know what is COVID-19. So it is a type of a SARS virus. A SARS stands for severe acute respiratory symptom. And in the past also, we have encountered different SARS virus. So this virus comes under the category of this SARS category. Now, the virus looks basically like this. So if you see here, there are particular spikes that have been present in the virus, and that's why it gets the name corona, because these particular spikes that you see are basically termed as corona, and that is how, using this particular thing, it gets latches into your system. So the virus image is what you see here, is how it looks like. Now, how it can get it into your body? There are different ways, channels through which a virus can enter your body, and one of the most common is your respiratory system. Now let me spend some time in this. Is why it is taking the help of the respiratory system is when in the respiratory system, the membrane that is being available is very thin, and because of that, it can easily enter into your system. Second thing, what is being present in your respiratory system are receptors. Those receptors are being present in order to exchange your CO2 and O2, and all the other particular gases can be exchanged into that medium. Now, as such, what has been happening is this particular virus latches into that particular receptor through this corona, and it finds an entry into your system. So respiratory system is the first target of this particular virus. It can also enter your body through your eyes, nose, mouth. Okay, it can also happen, and through this media, ultimately it is going to reach your particular body. And ultimately, the first particular part that is going to affect is your lungs. It is not that it is only affecting the lungs. Let me also make it clear, is over the different variants that we have observed, it is ultimately going to affect your entire organs in your body in some way or the other. Okay, but the first organ to affect is your lungs. Now, what are the symptoms that you may get? You may get a symptom like cough. Initially, it may start with a cough. It may start with a fever. It may find with a fatigue, and some of the patients can recover from these symptoms only. Others may go to the next level. So as it starts affecting your lungs, over a small period of time, you may find shortness of breath, and then you may have a severe particular breathing problems. That's where you need to admit yourself in the hospital and take the medical care at there, where it is not manageable at the house. Other problems that we also see, symptoms are gastrointestinal problems, which may have a diarrhea or nausea kind of feelings, and so on. So these are also the symptoms associated with the particular COVID. Plus there are many more symptoms, but the commonly ones which are seen is the one that I have highlighted. Now, how is it spread? The spread of this mechanism is through the respiratory droplets. A person who has been infected, and if he tries to sneeze or cough, then through the respiratory droplets, this particular virus can spread to the other people. Then, so coughing, sneezing, it can help to propagate the virus. If you come in contact with a droplet of an infected person, that's how the other persons get infected from the other infected person. Now, so far what we were seeing in the last year was one variant of COVID, and that had a reaching capability of 1 to 1.5 meters, because we were assuming that that particular virus is been spreading only through the respiratory droplets. And this respiratory droplets has a capability of 1 to 1.5 meters. That's why if we are away from the patient within that particular range, then definitely you will see. But now the new mutants that has come up, they are capable of these droplets can sit on the particular dust particles and they can traverse a larger distance. So it is no longer is being acquainted with the respiratory droplet system only, but it has now become airborne. And that is probably the reason why you see a sudden spike that is happening in the second wave in India. Okay, because there are a lot of mutants that has come up. A virus itself has modified itself and has looking for different ways of attacking the different people and different medium, and that is posing more challenge on the healthcare system. Other thing is you need to have proper hand hygiene in order to prevent self-spread. So if any person is been affected, you need to maintain a good hand hygiene system so that it doesn't affect the other organs of him, as well as he tries to avoid spreading through a direct contact with the other person. You need to have a particular social distancing, but now with the new mutant, this is also not that much applicable. You need to wear the mask always, whether you are infected or the other person is not infected. You need to make sure that you need to wear the mask is a must now, and not an ordinary mask, but you need to at least wear a triple layer particular mask, because now the virus has become airborne. You need to avoid crowded places, because this is another reason why you find a sudden spike in India, because we relaxed some of the norms and people were too much relaxed, and as such they tend to visit crowded places. They need to address the social gatherings and so on, and that is the effect what we see today. When symptoms may appear. So this is how the virus can spread. And the point I would also like to highlight is many of you might be having religious particular functions or family functions, and which are more inclined in a closed environment like air conditioned hall, where the virus can proliferate in multiple amount compared to an open air function. But definitely with current scenarios, all these things needs to be avoided, like visiting the temples or churches or the mosque or any family particular functions. All this needs to be curtailed down. Okay, so the best mechanism that we see right now is you need to do self lockdown by yourself. That is only way we can take it under control. So what are the symptoms that you may appear? Usually the symptoms start appearing in you after 8 to 10 days after you have contacted the infection. So you are not aware of it that you are already infected, but after 8 to 10 days you may start getting the symptoms. And the first common symptoms is difficulty in breathing, because it is affecting your lung system or respiratory system. Also check your oxygen saturation level. Okay, so if it is falling less than 95%, then it is an indicator that you have been infected. So please, I advise everyone to have a pulse and oximeter made it available at your house, and do check your pulse and also the oxygen level. Nowadays some smartwatches also do provide it. You can use it as an alternative, but everyone should have a pulse oximeter. If you can afford, try to keep one in hand and check your oxygen level. If it is falling below 95%, then it is an indicator that you might something is going wrong in your lungs. Persistent pain and pressure in the chest is another symptom. Mental confusion or inability to arouse. Okay, mentally you find a lot of confused. You plan to do some activity, but you are not able to concentrate in that activity. You tend to do something else apart from your wish. This is also a symptom that we see nowadays of the COVID. Slurred speech, seizures, okay, inability to talk more freely, openly, okay, that is also an indicator. Weakness or numbness in your limb or a face is also an indicator. Developing some sort of a bluish discoloration on the lips, face, okay, which is different from what is your normal behavior was there. So these are some of the common symptoms that we see that is appearing in the COVID, along with the gastrointestinal problems like diarrhea, nausea, which is also seen in these mutant cases. So having seen the symptoms, now what protocol that you should do in home isolation? So nowadays we know that the things are overcrowded in the hospital, right? And if you tend to get a COVID, then you should be able to manage yourself at home. So we are going to discuss some of the home isolation protocols that you can follow. Of course, if the condition becomes more severe, then you need to get yourself admitted. But most of the things are quite manageable at home under a strict guidance. So first, patient under home isolation will stand discharge after 10 days of symptoms onset. So basically, this window is around 17 days because you yourself detect you are having COVID after 8 days. And then you need to stay yourself isolated in the home for at least 10 days. So overall, I would say it comes to around 17 to 18 days of home isolation. Now, second thing, when you can say you have come out, you don't observe any fever for 3 days. Okay, that may be towards the end of 15, 16, and 17 day. Then you can say that you have come out of the particular COVID. But other guidelines needs to be followed. Again, I'm telling. The patient will be advised to isolate at home and self-monitor their health for 7 days. So you need to monitor all your health parameters. No doubt, if you are not having fever, if you are not having breathlessness, okay, you feel, don't be under impression that you are overcome it. You need to constantly monitor your health parameters, even if you don't have fever or cold or cough, okay, and for at least 7 to 10 days. So I would say monitor it for all 17 days. Fine. Then there is no need for testing after home isolation period is over. So initially you had done a particular testing, you have found positive, that's why you have gone for home isolation process. And then once you have overcome that 17 days window, you may not go again and do a testing, but all the other precautions needs to be taken seriously, along with a self-particular healthcare system, which you are going to monitor yourself. Now, what are the things that you should always follow even after coming out of the home isolation? Patient should all the time should use triple layer medical mask. This is not only for the person who is infected, but also for an ordinary person to prevent getting infection. You need to use triple layer medical mask because now the disease has become airborne and it is no longer can protect you from 1.5 meter distance. Fine. Discard the mask after 8 hours of use or earlier if it becomes wet or visibly soggy. Okay, if you try to sneeze it within a particular by wearing the mask, and if the mask becomes wet or something like that, try to replace it after 8 hours. And when you are in home isolation period, this is a must. You need to replace your mask within 8 hours. Second thing, mask should be discarded only after disinfecting it. And for disinfecting, you can use sodium hypochlorite solution that is easily available in the pharmacy. You just put 1% of it on the mask and dispose it separately in a dustbin. Next thing, patient should stay away in an identified room and away from other members in the family. Now this is not happening nowadays because in the last year there were many COVID centers when when the patient once detected was approaching there and other family members were sick. But that is not observed nowadays. Right? So when I say it is a home isolation, you need to have separate room, you need to have separate washroom, you need to have separate washing machine to wash your clothes, or you can wash your clothes separately. They should not interfere with the other clothes of other family members. You should not be in touch with your other family members. You need to isolate yourself. That is the meaning of home isolation. And only one family member can interact with you with a particular distance. That person should wear the mask, other things properly. We should not come in direct contact with the infected person. So all those care has to take place. Then only we can say it's a proper home isolation. The patient must take rest and drink plenty of fluids to maintain adequate hydration. This is the one of the simple thing that you can do. Keep yourself well hydrated so that the COVID doesn't affect your remaining organs apart from respiratory system. So if it starts affecting the other organs, then the things becomes more particularly difficult for you. So that has to be prevented. Also follow all respiratory NTQs all the time. Do all breathing exercises even if you don't have symptom of breathlessness, but do continue. That will strengthen your lungs, because lungs, if it gets affected and if you have a pneumonia patient in the past history of pneumonia and all, then definitely you're bound to get pneumonia, and we don't want to make the particular symptoms more worse. Okay, so do respiratory exercises all the time even if you are not having any symptoms. Then food must be provided to the patient in his room, not by direct contact. You can leave it at the doorstep and leave the place, and then the infected patient can open the door and take the food and go inside and eat it. It should be that way. Second thing, utensils and the dishes used by the patient should be cleaned with soap, detergent and water, wearing the gloves. The utensils and dishes may be reused only for that particular patient. Clean hands after taking off the gloves or handling used items. So this is how the disease of the particular infected person who is in home isolation needs to be treated. And many times in the family nowadays, what we see, these protocols are not followed. As such, if the one patient gets affected, then all the family members get affected. That's how we also see a sudden spike in increase in the cases in the second wave. The second wave is, it is easily spreadable, and since we are not taking care of all these things, it is affecting all the particular family members, and that's how the numbers are increasing. Use triple layer medical mask and disposable gloves when cleaning or handling the surfaces, clothes or linens used by the patient. So always use now triple layer mask, and gloves is a must whenever you are dealing with any particular items from the infected person who is in home isolation. Perform hand hygiene before and after removing the clothes, and in fact, every time within 1 or 2 hours, you try to clean your hands with good detergent, that I will also be explaining later on, because you have an infected person residing in the same house. Hands must be washed often with the soap and water for at least 40 seconds, or clean it with alcohol-based sanitizer. So when you are applying the soap, it should be applied thoroughly at all the parts of your hand, and that should be at least done for 40 seconds. Or you can use alcohol-based sanitizer. Don't share personal items with other people. The person who is infected, he should not share any of his personal items with any other person. Clean the surface in your room where you are residing in home isolation. This is for the patient, that are touched often, like the tabletops, door knobs, handles, etc., with 1% of hydrochlorine solution. So wherever the patient is going to touch, the different areas needs to be isolated and needs to be washed thoroughly with this 1% hydrochlorine solution. It is readily available in the pharmacy. So take up big bottles and stock it, because this has to be repeated every day. Okay, or at least 2 or 3 times in a day, to keep your family members safe. The patient must strictly follow the physician's instructions and medical advice. So once you are positive, you are going to get a kit from the health center along with the tablets and other things. So you need to take those tablets even if you don't have the symptoms. Okay, you need to monitor all your body parameters and report to the physician that has been allocated to you on a daily basis, or whatever time slot is been given to you. So you need to keep him updated all the time and follow all the instructions thoroughly without any compromise. The patient should self-monitor his or her particular health, with daily temperature monitoring is a must, and report promptly if develop any deteriorations of the symptoms. Now when I say deterioration of the symptoms, your temperature can go up, your oxygen levels can come down, so you need to constantly monitor, maintain the chart. The chart is provided, will be provided with you, so fill up all the entries on daily basis, and if you feel any unevenness, then report immediately to the doctor. Don't hesitate. The more you delay, more worsen will be your condition. Okay, so these things needs to be taken care by a patient and the family members who is going for home isolation. Now, what are the medicines that you should have? This is in fact for the other person as well who is not being infected. Okay, and if you are infected, definitely your medical health center will be providing you with the required medicine. But this I have put up for the people who is not who see the symptoms but who are not yet tested. Okay, so start taking the medicine right from the moment you see the symptoms. Don't wait for your result to come up. Okay, so if you find a fever and a body ache, it occurs when your body aches to fight the infection. So basically, fever is coming up because the virus has infected you and your body is now fighting that particular infection. So you tend to get fever. COVID-19 also commonly causes body ache and muscle aches. Unlike any other infection that is entering your body when you are going to get a fever, COVID is also a type of infection. So you tend to get fever and body ache. Drink plenty of fluids, as I also suggested, when you have fever and ache, because when you have a body fever and ache, your body tends to lose a lot of water because your body is becoming warm, and to cool it down, the body takes the resources from your body in terms of the fluid. To replenish it by drinking a lot of water and keeping yourself well hydrated. This is the best medicine. So acetaminophen, that is Tylenol, what we basically call, is a preferred medication to control your body temperature and body heat. Now, what should be the doses of it? For adult dose, it is about 650 milligram. After every 4 to 6 hours, you can take based on your fever. If fever is too high, try to take it within 4 hours. If it is reduced, then take about 1 in 6 hours. But again, the care needs to be taken that in a particular 24 hours time, the total milligram should not exceed 3250. Okay, and one tablet will be of around 650 milligram. So accordingly, based on your fever, you can take the dose, but it should not exceed this. Any particular patient who had a past history of liver disease needs to get consultations, or they can ask us also in that respect, and then we can alter this particular dose with the other type of the medicine that will also be found effective. Then if you have small kids that have been below 15 years or before 5 years, then the kids can also be given this medicine, but it will be in a liquid form. And whenever you are giving it a liquid, don't give it in the form of a teaspoon, but it has to be used through the syringe. So take the syringe so that you can actually count out how many ml dose is required, and then administer it to the children in a liquid form. Okay, so be sure to measure the liquid products with the oral syringe and not household teaspoon, and read the medication label to identify the dosage, because the dosage will vary from the age of the particular kid and also the weight of the kid, and that is clearly prescribed in the liquid form. So accordingly, then you need to give the required dosage through the oral syringe to your kids. Apart from this particular drug, you can also use the anti-inflammatory drug. We basically call it ibuprofen. It is Advil or Motrin is the name that is been with which it is also available. But any one you can do. But the more effective that is being found is this. But if you have a liver problem in the past and all, then we can use a combination of both of them or only this particular drug to treat it. Okay, so ibuprofen or acetaminophen has been the good drugs that have been found to tackle your fever and body in this respect. So don't try to take crocin and other things. They are not that effective in this, because we need to curtail the fever in a short period of time before the things can become more worse. So that is for body ache and fever. Other symptoms that you may find is you may have a cough. Okay, so what are the things that you can do for a cough? Is sip on drinks throughout a day, keep yourself well hydrated, and take the lukewarm water or any drink that you are taking, take it in a lukewarm. Drink warm like tea. You can have a warm tea. Now that tea needs to be prepared by using lemon and ginger. Increase the intake of ginger because it helps you to boost your immunity, and if you have strong immunity, the virus will go out of your body more quickly. Lemon, because it is good in vitamin C and all the things. Citrus food you can have, okay, that will also boost your immunity. Then try to take a teaspoon of honey in a hot tea or water. That will also help you to improve the things of the cough thing. Steam inhalation 3 times or 4 times a day is a must, even with a normal particular patient. So if you have sore throat and all, you can have the gargle with the salt water. If you have a natural salt, it is more better. Or the betadine you can also try out if you don't have the readily available salt with you. Then you can suck on the cough drops or the Longinus or hard candies, that is just to relieve you from the cough. They will keep your mouth and throat moist and will try to relieve you from the cough. Try cough medicines like the syrup, that can also be tried out. But with this particular method, the homemade remedies, definitely it will improve. But drink lot of hot water throughout the day, and hot tea and include lemon and ginger, that is found to be more effective in that particular thing compared to this. But along with that, you can use the combination of both of them. If you find shortness of the breath, try to breathe slowly, because that will help you to increase the oxygen levels more appropriately. Do breathing exercises and the medication techniques more frequently. That is also a must when you are detected with the COVID. Even you may not feel a shortness of breath, do breathing exercises like taking in deep breath, then waiting it for 5 seconds, then releasing it with full outflow, then trying it with the different nostrils, then repetitive patterns, then taking in the breath suddenly, then keeping it hold for more time, releasing it. So this kind of exercises needs to be done in the early stages to prevent you from going to the next stage. Also, if your doctor has, if you had any asthma or any other particular problem in the past, and if the doctor had prescribed you inhaler, then you need to use this particular inhaler at this stage, okay, so that it doesn't take you to the next phase. The symptoms may be also sudden loss of taste and smell. Okay, there is no medicine available. The symptoms will particularly shade away after 1 week time or so. But try to increase the intake of ginger, lemon in your diet. That will help you to also overcome this. Okay, avoid oily food, avoid spicy food, because we don't want any complications in your digestive tract to happen. Okay, you can take this particular thing, that will also help you to help out with your taste particular buds and the smell bud. Okay, so there is no any medicine available now for taking care of this. The symptoms will go away in about 1 week time. Now, what is the treatment mode? We have discussed some of the treatment mode in terms of the tablets, home remedies, and other things that can be taken care. Okay, first thing is get yourself vaccinated in advance. Okay, so don't delay. This is applicable for the pregnant woman as well as the other woman and any person. Okay, the first line of defense is get yourself at least vaccinated with 1 dose. Okay, if the second dose and other thing is not available, get yourself vaccinated with 1 dose. Okay, in the case of the mild case, as we said, you can go for home quarantine by following all those guidelines which I have discussed before. Then monitoring your breathing, oxygen level, okay, your contraction. Now this is basically for the women who are pregnant and in different phases of pregnancy. Monitor your contractions along with the oxygen levels and other things. Preterm delivery chances are a little bit high because you may go for early contraction. You may see vaginal bleeding, amniotic sac leak. So this kind of, because of contractions, you may feel that. If you are in second and third trimester, immediately report to us or report to your gynec immediately. So these are the symptoms that you may feel for the mild case. Severe case which is there, inform your obstetrician well in advance so he can prepare you to admit yourself in the hospital. Okay, then get hospitalized. Oxygen supply or ventilator, if the things worsen, then you might be kept on ventilator or oxygen supply from the cylinder. So this is a must. So to prevent you going into this phase, try to follow all the things that I have explained before strictly, so that you may not have to go to the second phase or a severe case phase. Okay, there. So once you are in hospital, definitely the hospital will take care of you in terms of all the medicines and other modes of treatment to take you out of it. So I'm not discussing that because that varies from your condition. But what I try to focus on the home remedies that you can take in order to prevent you from going to the next stage. Now, how will be the delivery process if you are COVID positive? This is for the patients who are in the third trimester or almost towards the last phase. Vaginal birth is possible with due soap. Okay, so it depends on your condition. The doctor can, and also the position of the baby and other normal parameters that needs to be satisfied to check whether you can still deliver vaginally. It will also, the doctor will also monitor your oxygen level. It will also monitor your pulse rates, because if you're going for vaginal birth, then definitely it's a long time frame. And if the doctor is comfortable that you can take in that time frame to still go for vaginal birth, then definitely you can go for it. I have done still many vaginal birth cases also in the COVID protocol. Then once the mother is particular positive support, then definitely after the birth, the baby needs to be separated from the mother in order to avoid the infection contacting the particular baby. Then baby also needs to be tested whether it is positive or not. So definitely this is the process that will happen during the delivery process. And sometimes the doctor recommend also going for C-section to avoid any complication like the breathing problems that may come up during the particular delivery process if the mother itself is COVID positive. Okay, so do cooperate with the doctor in that case. Don't hesitate that you only want vaginal birth, because the doctor has to particular balance all the things from both the perspective and take the appropriate decision at that given point of time. Then, how does it affect your pregnancy? Now, when you are in the previous phases, and suppose if you are detected with the COVID, or if your family member is detected with the COVID, or your neighbors are affected with the COVID, okay, so what care you need to take? Because first of all, during your pregnancy, your immune system is going to become weak. This is for normal woman, and definitely once immune system becomes weak, the virus finds easy entry in your body, right? That's why there are chances that you may be affected through this virus because your immune system is becoming weak. There are chances of preterm delivery are very high, as I said before, because it can result in contractions, early contractions, and as such the preterm delivery chances are high. So you need to take due precautions to prevent this. Then vaginal bleeding can also be observed. The leak of the amniotic fluid from your sac can also be observed because of the contraction that you find here. So these are the things that if you are in the second trimester or approaching the third trimester, then definitely these symptoms you may observe. And if anything like the bleeding, amniotic sac bleeding or vaginal bleeding is been observed, or early contractions have been observed, immediately report to us or your gynae. Okay, so that we can tell you still if it is manageable at home, then definitely we'll guide you, and then otherwise if it's not possible, you need to immediately admit yourself in the hospital. Then, can the mother pass on the virus to the fetus? Okay, definitely it is seen that it has less vertical mobility. That means passing off from the mother to a child, this virus is been less. So if a woman is pregnant and she is detected positive, there are less chances that it may be passed on when the baby is still in the womb to the newborn. Or if the baby is delivered, then still there are chances that it is being passed less to the newborn. And this is based on the study that has been found. So in the US, we have a data of around 1,002 mothers who are tested positive, and only 25 babies have got the infection from the mother. In China, although we have a record of only 800 mothers, 30 are tested positive. In Australia and New Zealand, the ratio is still low. Out of 600, only 10 are there, and out of 150, there are only 4. But in some cases, like in China, these babies are also infected after delivery. So that the test was performed after 3-4 days. So we don't know whether the baby has got the infection from the mother itself or from the surrounding environment the baby has contacted. That is not been known. But if you see the number of patients and compared to the number of babies that are found positive, it is still much less. Okay, so as we say that there is the vertical mobility of this virus is comparatively low, unlike the other viruses which you can easily pass on to the child. So it is comparatively low in this case. So that is sort of a relief to you. And I also seen through many of my interactions, even in India when I'm here right now, I've done many particular deliveries with the patients who are COVID positive. I've done vaginal delivery as well as the C-section, but very less chances are there of a particular child getting a particular virus if proper SOP is being followed by the doctor and the team. Okay, so still there are very less chances of the baby getting this. Now, other question that I get is, can we do a breastfeeding if the mother is COVID positive, right? So as the SARS virus, because the COVID is a type of the SARS virus, and the SARS virus that we encountered before, we have seen that a particular the infection was not transmitted that much from the mother to a particular child when doing the breastfeeding. Okay. Same thing has been also observed in COVID. Most cases, you can do a particular breastfeeding, but precaution needs to be followed. It is not going to be an ordinary breastfeeding which a mother does to a particular child. You need to follow a particular precautions if the mother is positive. So what is the precaution? First, wash your hands often. Okay, before you take your particular child, you need to wash your hands, sanitize your hands properly. How it is to be done, I already explained before. You need to wear your triple layer mask. Okay, follow respiratory guidelines. Okay, then disinfect the surface, that is, clean your breast area properly before latching it with a particular child. Okay, then if you are very sick, if you see too much symptoms of your breast with your COVID, then don't directly breastfeed the baby. You can take the help of a pump to extract the milk and let someone else feed the baby through a bottle. You don't try to feed it yourself to the baby. Let your milk be extracted to the pump, and after extracting the milk and proper putting it in bottle, see to it that the bottle and other things are well sanitized in the form of, you boil the particular bottle of water, the pump after extracting the milk and so on, so it becomes more sanitized. That person needs to wear the gloves, and all the precautions which I explained before needs to be strictly taken care of. So with that particular mode, you can still do the breastfeeding. But if you don't have severe symptoms, then you can follow up these guidelines to let your baby to the breast and do the breastfeeding. Fine. Second thing is about the working environment. So many people, many times the woman is working somewhere and has to go out and work and are pregnant. So the number of exposed cases, you need to find out whether your office, nowadays most of these are working from the home, but still if you have to go out, then definitely find out whether in office, then find out how many cases have been there, how many people are infected directly or indirectly. Directly means that person itself is infected, so he may not be there in the office, but his family members may be infected and he is coming to the office. Okay, so you need to monitor direct indirect ratio of the infections in your office. Avoid use of too much of air conditioner, because many times if the environment is closed, they tend to proliferate more, and that's what happened in the first wave also. That is, a proper particular ventilation is a must. Try to use a normal fan over air conditioner even at your house. Don't use aircon all the time. You can just put it on for 1 hour and then you can switch it off and then use the fan, even if the temperature is very high. So don't be in a particular air circulation, because there is no much flow of the air that is happening. And if the infection is persisting in the environment, it remains in the environment and you are exposing your body more to particular this kind of infections in an air conditioned environment. Okay, so that is the thing, all this care that you need to take to tackle this. So to summarize in detail, you need to have proper hygienic care. When you're going for home isolations, all those particular precautions which have been mentioned is to be strictly followed without any compromise. Then only you can prevent yourself from spreading your infections to your loved ones. Then regarding your home isolations, even after your recovery time of 17 days, it doesn't mean that you have come out of it. All the other precautions you need to follow it up throughout. Also, I would say is monitor your parameters for at least 1 month, because there are cases that with the new mutant, you may come out with the first particular infected days, but suddenly it spikes up in 1 week or 10 weeks on the same person, and that time it is more severe. So constantly monitor yourself for about 1 month. One more thing I forgot to tell you about that oxygen level is if you are found infected, then what you do is check your oxygen level, take a walk of around 6 seconds or so, and again check your oxygen level. If you find your oxygen level is decreasing after taking a particular walk of around 6 seconds, then immediately get yourself admitted in the hospital. But if you don't find your oxygen level is dropping compared to what it was, then you can still be in home quarantine. Okay, so this thing, all these precautions needs to be taken by everyone, even if you're pregnant, if you're not pregnant, or for your spouse or your other family members, all these things is a must. Of course, if you're pregnant or in different phases, your care, taking care becomes more important, because as I said, your body is more immune. So you tend to get it contacted very easily, and you need to follow up all these routines on a daily care, at least for 1 month or more than that, till you come out of it. So just don't consider it as only 17 days and you're out of it. This mutant can again attack you with more severity in even a period after 17 days. So you need to constantly monitor yourself without any stress. So don't take it as stress. You follow it up with the normal routine and the procedures that have been given, like maintaining your temperature and all, oxygen levels. Do continue it throughout. Okay, and that is how the easy way that you can come out of it without being hospitalized, because too much is being loaded from the hospital perspective, and don't expose yourself to the external environment unnecessarily. Second thing also I would like to highlight is don't invite any other person in your house, no matter how close or how loved one that person may be. Don't visit any other particular other's house or any other particular places, even if it is at your neighbor's place, because we don't know if they're infected directly or indirectly. So best mechanism is self-isolation or self-lockdown, what I would say, to come out of. Okay, so with this, I would like to end my particular session. If you have any queries, you can always contact me in the group, or you can message me. There I will address your specific case in more detail, and that's how we can fight this. Thank you. Thank you for the session.